Okay guys, the next thing we're going to go over is Notepad. Now I'm probably going to do most of this in Windows 7 because I'm guessing that's what the majority of you are going to have is Windows 7. So if you guys have any questions about it in Windows XP because you're using Windows XP, please feel free to ask me. But Notepad is a very simple application that really doesn't have a lot to it. So you'll see it come up here for me, but what you need to do is click on All Programs, go to the Accessories, and then Notepad. And you'll see that not a lot comes up. Normally you're used to seeing like some sort of toolbar or different fonts or something like that. Notepad, there's none of that. This is all just very, very basic text. Okay? Alright, and you'll see that no matter what you do, I'm just pressing enter here. If I shift and press the text again, there's no auto capitalization or anything like that. If you don't capitalize it, it's not gonna capitalize it, okay? This is a very, very simple writing program. If I go up here to the file menu, you'll see I get very limited options: printing, page setup, save as, new, open, and exit. Going to edit, just copy and pasting, finding, replacing, time and date, select all. Format, I can do what they call a word wrap. What that does, and I'll give you an example here, is if I just press this button and let it go, and I let it go all the way to the end of the page, it will just continue. And now you can see I have the scroll bar here. So it goes to the end of the page. Now if I come up here and I choose to word wrap, it then wraps around so that I no longer have that scroll bar. That's all it does. Okay. I can change the font by coming in here. Now I really don't have a whole lot of choices, but I do have some different fonts here. I can choose the regular, oblique, bold, bold oblique, different size, different script. But really, my options are very limited in Notepad, okay? In the view section, I can view a status bar, or maybe it's grayed out at this point, but that will show up down at the bottom. I'm not really worried about you guys understanding what the status bar does, so if it doesn't work for you, that's fine. If it does work for you, that's okay too. And then of course it has its help and about, so that if you have any questions, you can feel free to look in here, but it's very simple. Now, so if we wanted to make a bulleted list, we would have to actually make the bulleted list ourselves using maybe a star or some sort of dash. A lot of times these are referred to as unordered lists. That's what I will refer to them as. Anything that has an arrow, a dash, a star, no order to it is considered an unordered list. So if I ask you to make an unordered list for me in Notepad, you can use either one of these characters or whatever you want as long as there's no order to it. Now an ordered list, that would consider to be your 1, 2, 3s, your A, B, C's, that kind of stuff. Even Roman numerals are considered to be ordered lists. But in Notepad, we have to do all of this on our own, okay? The tab button, however, does still work. So if you tab over and you're starting a paragraph, it will start the paragraph there with the tab button. So that at least will allow you to do that. Again, if we want to save, we can come up here to File. We can choose Save As. And we can save it wherever we would like. If we want to save it in our Documents folder, or if we just want to save it right on the desktop, maybe we'll put it in our test folder that we made earlier, and we'll call it Text 2. Okay? Just so we've got one and number 1 is the original, so we've got number 2. And we just save it, and you'll see that it says Text 2 up here. Very simple program. A lot of programmers do use this because it doesn't add spacing, it doesn't add a lot of different stuff. However, there's no spell check, There's not a whole lot that you can do with it other than what you make it do. So I'm not going to have you guys do a lot of this, but in part of the assignment I will make you do part of it in Notepad, and you will have to use Notepad. So be familiar with it. I'm not going to ask you a whole lot of questions on it because there's not a lot to it. It is what you can do with it. But like I said, remember the difference between an unordered list, which is just an inanimate object of some sort, or an ordered list, which could be, like I said, an alphabet letter, a number, a Roman numeral, something that gives it some sort of order so that you know what number 1 is and you know what number 2 is, okay? With stars, bullets, dashes, arrows, we have no idea what's number 1, what's number 2. They're just they're just unordered listings, okay? So that's really all there is for Notepad. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this so that you can see it in XP. And I'll go ahead and open up, same thing, go to All Programs, Accessories, go to Notepad, and we've got all the same options. We've got the status bar, the word wrap, the different things there, the save and whatnot. And it will do the exact same thing. It'll just type away, and if we just continue to type, it'll run to the end of the page, and then once it gets to the end of the page, it'll add the scroll bar. So then I can go to Format, and I can go to Word Wrap. And there you go. That's all that really can be done with Notepad, okay? So get used to this, get familiar with it. It's very simple, very easy to use. I don't plan on there being a lot of this on the test or in general. So I wish you guys luck and get ready for the next lecture. So I know you guys thought we were done, but I thought of something else to add on to this one real quick. So one of the things that I want you guys to see in Notepad, and when we open it up, is the actual page setup. When we go into page setup, this is where we can set our margins, left, right, top, bottom. We can switch it from portrait to landscape, which just actually rotates the page itself. You can change the letter size, the source. There's also some header and footer options, which we're really not going to get into in Notepad so much. But this page setup will carry over into WordPad as well as Microsoft Word. So it was really important that I went over it real quick. So if you guys have any questions about this or have any problems with it, please let me know.